Welcome to No Perspective, a show for the people, from the people. This is our segment that we're actually calling True Perspective, the Battle of the Sexes edition.
Ooh.
John Schmidt, Schmitty Rock, no matter what you call me, just listen.
I'm K Love. Welcome to the show.
These is our two guests. First show, first guest. We want to welcome you guys. We have...
Introduce yourself, man.
Oh man, just call me Dijon, man of many
Dijon.
names and everything like that.
It's gotta be in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be right there.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Dijon, man of many names. I don't know we streaming on and anything like that, but
Yeah.
salute to everyone out there.
My name is Hadisha, but my friends call me Dish.
Hey, yep. All right, we're going to first just present you guys with some questions. What we like for this show, we trying to get honest perspectives because we want to help as our audience understand what they're going through in themselves. So for you guys, try to be as honest as possible without incriminating yourselves in any way before. You understand what I'm saying? But trying to be honest as possible because that's the only way we can help people.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so the first question we have, what's the biggest misconception men have about women and vice versa?
Oh, we getting straight to it.
Straight
Get
to
straight
it.
Straight to it. You said the biggest
The
misconception?
biggest misconception.
Oh, that women have about men, men have about women. Let's see. Women have about men that all men cheat.
Oh.
I say that due to the fact because not all men are the same. Each men have different moral standings. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, we're not the same. It's you're Kenny, you're Jonathan, I'm Dijon. We're not the same. We may have some bases where we're aligned to our friendship come together. However, when it comes to certain aspects of life, relationship-wise, we're talking, it may not be the same. Reason why I'm single. Reason why Jonathan's married. You understand what I'm saying? So it's different. Everything plays a part. Women.
What's the biggest misconception men have about women now?
Let's see. Ooh. Let me see. Off the top, biggest misconception that we have about women is that they always have a bullet in the chamber. When I say a bullet in the chamber, meaning they have the options open. You know what I mean? They have someone in the background while they're in a relationship waiting to step up to the plate, waiting for the gentleman to fail. Not all women have that. You know what I mean? Some women are loyal and faithful to what they want to do. They set a goal and they want to accomplish that goal. That's about it for that, from me.
How about you, Dish? You need the question again?
Yeah, give it to me one more time.
What's the biggest misconception men have about women and vice versa?
All right. So I think the biggest misconception that men have about women is that we're all the same and that we all want the same things, specifically concerning sex and relationships. So I think men get that twisted. They think that women are all relationshipy and they deal with women all from that perspective.
Okay.
So I don't think that men deal with enough women differently. I think that women's biggest misconception about the second. I got
There we
another
go.
one.
Let's get to it.
Hold on, I got another one.
Yeah.
I think that another big misconception that men have about women are that women are not as sexual as men are.
And they might be
And
more.
if they
I agree.
are, they're hoes. That's another big misconception.
I like that one.
I think women's biggest misconception about men are that men are not sensitive. And I think that the other big misconception women have about men is their focus on sex and sexual attraction.
Beautiful.
I think that's another big misconception. Meaning that I think that women focus a lot of a man's attraction to them and their attraction to a man is revolving around sex and the cookie.
Yeah.
Cookie.
The cookie.
To just to piggyback on what you were saying, to comment, interject rather, about men not being sensitive. Some men feel as though it's demasculating. It's not strong enough for the woman at that point because women want to provide, they want to protect her at the end of the night. So that's where I'm assuming that's where that comes from. I don't know. However, I know how to nurture a woman sometimes when it's necessary and all that. Feel me?
I think just to jump in, I think one of the reasons that we get the notion that we can't be sensitive is because we're guarded.
Right.
We're guarded and we don't want to look sensitive because my brother says it all the time, it makes us seem vulnerable. One issue that men have is feeling and looking and seeming vulnerable. It makes us look like damn, like I don't have control. It's a control issue. Sometimes you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable in order to be real, for somebody to understand you. And it doesn't make you less of a man. It actually makes you more of a man to show your vulnerable side and your sensitive side. Right. So like that's one that I think it is a misconception, but I think all of these misconceptions stem from how we interact with each other. Now this is why that we're doing this, because what we want to open up is real interaction. Because one thing, the reason that we're doing this at all is because I have nothing but girlfriends. I talk to them all of the time.
Right.
What they tell me is not what they is not what they display in society
as actions.
It's
right.
not a
it's
norm.
Not
so like
yes.
what I want to do is start having open conversations and real conversations, so we could see like, hold up, so not all women think like that, not all men think like that, and if I do think like that, ask me why.
Right.
Ask me why I don't act sensitive.
Right.
Because one day I might have been sensitive. You call me pussy, I'll never be sensitive again. Who you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
I think the thing is that men don't even realize how sensitive y'all are, and y'all don't even realize that y'all sensitivity comes out in a whole lot of different ways. So y'all think sensitivity to us looks like weak, or sensitivity looks like you're crying, or oh my God, you're whining. But essentially, if you're not doing that, your sensitivity comes out in one way or another. You start cheating because you don't like what happened. Because now that's how you react to you're not happy with something that you did, that I did or didn't do. So now you're sensitive to that. You show your sensitivity by going, and now you stepping outside the relationship. Why? Because you were sensitive to something I did or didn't do.
Right,
your feelings is hurt.
Right.
So now because your feelings is hurt, you go be sensitive.
Go.
All right, but in regards to that though, what women have to do is you have to be susceptible to when I tell my feelings.
Right.
You can't just say, yo, your feelings is hurt. I mean, you actually, as a woman, knowing that, you just said a man goes and cheats after he gets all sensitive and vulnerable and shuts down. What you got to do is promote communication, because now in those moments, I have to communicate to you. So therefore now you can see, oh, all right, this is what happened. And I can't be so, the sensitivity can't be so touchy to where now I don't communicate, because it festers and brings in actual like it brings in negativity to the relationship, which will destroy it. All right, next question I wanted to have. You brought in something that you said that I wanted to touch on. You were saying that not all men are the same. Not all women are the same with what they want, what they're looking for. Right. So my question is honesty about your intent for the relationship good or bad? If you're a woman and you say like you said, it's a misconception. We think all y'all want relationships. That's a fact.
Yes.
Right.
If you're a woman that's not looking for a relationship, do you just go in and not communicate that and be blind? Or do you tell me that? Which one is good, which one is bad? If you tell me that, is it good for you? Is it bad for you? What's the pros and cons about that? She go first, you second.
This is a good one, because what I know that the men here are going to say is, I can't be honest with her because that's not going to get me the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal we know is the cookie, to have sex. Okay. So I think that men and women both go into relationships with clear intentions. Now, how clear you make that to the other person that you're dealing with is up to you. It may be clear concerning one person and maybe not so clear concerning another person, depending upon what you might want one person around a little bit longer, so you're less clear with them. Right. You want this other person, you don't care how long they're around, so you might be more clear. Me personally, I'd prefer to be honest. I would prefer somebody to be honest with me. I already know Jonathan is coming back with this, going to come back with something, because I know what works and doesn't work. I understand it. This is why I say be honest, because if you be honest with me, you give me the option to choose what I want. Right. If you don't be honest, you allow me, now I have to play with my feelings while you play with my feelings, and I don't like to be in that position. It makes me vulnerable. I, for one, personally don't like to be extra vulnerable. Yeah. So tell me what it is. Let me decide if I want to do it. That's all I say. However, I know that doesn't always work.
Doesn't?
Because then now I have the option to pull something off the table. Right. But that's just a gamble you got to take. Okay. Let me decide what it is that I want to do. And I feel like that's the same way I would deal with a guy. Like, I would deal with a guy in the same way that I would want him to deal with me. And that is, if I don't want to be with you, I'm not going to make you feel like I do. I'm going to let you know what it is. Hey, listen, I'm not in that space right now. I'll say it however I feel like I need to say it to, coddle your feelings. And I'm sure that's what y'all do to women too.
Yo, don't coddle my feelings.
Yeah.
Coddle my
I'll
feelings.
say it in a way that makes, coddle your feelings.
Yeah.
But essentially what I'm saying to you is I'm not really trying to be in a relationship with you. I'm not really trying to be with you. Now, if you decide to continue to deal with me knowing that premise, then let's rock.
Let's do it.
All right, how about
Right.
you?
That honesty thing, man, is very complicated when it comes to the female species. They say they want it, and when they get it, it's a breakdown moment. That breakdown moment is about their options. It's about their options. So now it's the extra vulnerability that they're going through. They decide. Let's say they decide to play.
Right.
Say they decide to play. They continue to play, but now they still going into that play mode with the same expectation of being lied to. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now who's right or who's wrong there? You gave her the option to make her decision. She made a decision to play. But it still comes back on the man because we're the men in the situation.
It don't come back on you.
It does.
No, it doesn't, because I honestly believe everybody's responsible for their own feelings
Agreed.
when you're dealing with somebody.
Agreed.
You're responsible for your feelings, and they're responsible for their feelings as well.
Mm-hmm.
But however, you have to see and don't see.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't just listen to what you say. I have to see what you're doing and see if what you're saying is matching what you're saying is matching what you're doing. And if it's not, then I have to know, all right, you gotta check yourself. Like your feelings is going down one lane and he's obviously showing you something different.
Right.
Now, if that's the route that you allow yourself to take, then that's the route you allow yourself to take. You're not responsible for that. She's responsible for that. Her parents actually were responsible for that. They missed something.
Ooh.
So now you're not responsible for that. Your responsibility becomes when you lie.
Okay.
That's your responsibility.
Okay.
That's what I think. Your responsibility is when you lie to her and make her think something that it's not, or when your actions are so. You know what messed me up? This is what messed me up.
Talk to me.
I had a conversation with a guy friend one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about like how guys go about getting sex and dealing with women and different things like that.
Right.
So in my mind, I had always thought like, he's going after the sex. This guy told me, he's like, nah, I'm not going for just the sex. I'm going for your heart. And I know after I get your heart, everything else going to follow. That messed me up for a long time. Let me tell you why. Because I had always thought that guys were just going to go one route, and that was to try to have sex.
Right.
In order to do that, they were going to lie, manipulate, do whatever it is that they do, or maybe they don't. But when he told me that I ain't necessarily trying to, just have sex, I might just be trying to get your heart. So yeah, I'll take you out on a few
We
dates.
evolved as a species.
Yeah, I'm going to take
man.
you out on
like,
dates.
We like the giraffe. My neck grew long to get that fruit.
Okay.
Yo, my neck grew long. We had to figure out.
Right.
So all right, boom. Like she just said, she thought it was one way that guys go.
Yes.
One issue that I have that I try to help women understand, and I have a problem with my guys too, because sometimes they missed out on a girl that is trying to be honest, but because they only know one way to attack a chick and one way to deal, one way to go, they're not versatile.
Right.
Because you only and it's not saying that way isn't successful. That way works. It works for him every time. I got a friend that it literally works for him every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For real, I've been in a lot of situations with this guy. One time, right? Sorry, I
you're
always
fine.
bust out with a story.
Go ahead.
One time, right? We had a party. Swear to God. Yeah, I mean, we had a party. 2 girls, nice looking girls. Me and my man just have a conversation. By the end of the night, he in the corner saying, "I love you" to the chick. I want to be with you. Listen, I want to take you out of here.
I love you was enough.
Hey, yo, I want to take you out of here. It's going to be me and you forever. Like, he was doing that, but that's the way he knows how to win. And it worked. He left with her. So I'm not saying that
Yes.
you can't hate on my man for this, because it works. This works for him, but because he doesn't understand that there's other avenues and other ways, he only goes by his success, where that ties into the, what about being honest? Being honest is, I would love it, but it's not realistic, because the honesty isn't attached to success with men.
It isn't.
If I'm honest, is it really going to be successful? And that's not saying that that all you wanted was the hit. No. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't know what I wanted at first. Maybe I know that I just liked it, the initial. I got a thing that I say. I feel like men are, let's say 75-25. 75% they deal with attraction in the beginning. I think women deal with attraction, but I think it's 25%. I think women deal with potential. All right, so I think that we're working from two different premises.
Yes.
So now we're trying to work to get to that equal medium, but in the beginning I'm working for the attraction, so I'm trying to hit it. Women is trying to see, what's the potential and trying to see, can I be with this dude forever? So if I'm honest with you with my intention in the beginning, it's going to be lopsided with what you think.
Yes.
So therefore it's not
gonna be
attached.
lopsided either way, though.
But is it?
So
it's not attached to success.
it could be attached to success
hold on.
because you'll
Let me
find
see.
a couple of women out there that's
How
willing
many?
to deal with
Say-
you
say-
from the angle you willing to
how
deal with
many?
her from.
How many?
The only problem is you'll find a few.
You
You're
said
not
a
gonna
few.
find a whole
That's not
lot.
successful.
But that is successful.
A few
You
out
can't-
of many.
You're greedy. You're
Huh?
greedy then. You're greedy.
You
If
know
you
what I'm
can't
saying?
take a few, then you're greedy.
I'm
That's
just-
all
that-
I'm
but
saying.
that's
Because
what I'm
there's
saying.
a few that are willing to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But let me
We
tell you
got
what the
some for
problem
that.
is. The problem is that women feel like to deal with somebody like that, that makes you a hoe. This is what I said before. Like now, if I had made it clear that I wanted to deal with you how you wanted to deal with me, I'd be a hoe. But you could deal with me that way, and you won't be a hoe. That's like a badge of honor for you. But we're not comfortable in dealing with men that way. So that's why it feels like you have to go to relationship. For women too, it feels like I have to think that I could be with him for me to have sex with him. Because if I had sex with him without me feeling like I need to be with him, then I'm a hoe.
And what I would want to say though, because what I was trying to get at is men can't be honest, right? Because of the success rate, but also women can't be honest because of what's attached to that. They don't want to seem a certain type of way. They don't want to have a look. So what I'm saying is that if this is, we need to actually promote honesty and not make it so like if I say that I want to have sex with you, then now I'm an asshole.
Some kind
Like
of a monster.
shouldn't this is what I used to say because I had different types of G, and then I used to be like, so what are you saying about yourself that you expect me not to want to have
on.
sex with you?
Come on.
What do you see in yourself? Because I see a beautiful woman. Like, am I not supposed to? If I tell you the truth right there, every time that question comes up, it should be hell yeah.
Right.
And if it's not hell yeah, then what am I doing here? Like, stop wanting me to lie. Like, women ask that. Like, so you saying, oh, you want to have
Just want
sex?
to have sex with me? That's all you want?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I? Like, you're beautiful as shit. You're asking me to lie. So that's what I'm trying to say. Women promote the lie, and it's attached to the.
She ain't asking you about the sex. She asking you about the potential.
Is that all you want? Is you only want? Be specific.
She's
Words
asking
matter.
about the
It's my
option
new
of a
thing.
Words do
relationship.
matter.
Words matter.
She
You
not
asking me,
about-
do I only want?
She
often-
asking you about can we potentially to be together?
But
Because
often-
you would
often
realize
initial-
too that a woman doesn't necessarily have to feel like y'all are in a relationship. She just needs to feel like y'all might be able to be in a
I got a
relationship.
question. I got a question
So
for
if you
you.
leave that that option open to her, she'll probably deal with you on that level too because she just needs to feel like we have the potential. Nobody wants to feel like, oh, I'm going to have sex with him and he ain't even going to call me tomorrow.
Right.
She needs to feel like I'm going to have sex with him and he's probably
There's
going to
something
still
down
be
the
calling
line.
me
Yeah.
5 months from now. You just got to leave the option open. Now, how you decide
Go ahead,
to do
Kay.
that
What
is
you was
on
about
you.
to say?
Off the initial meetup, right? Say if I meet a young lady out somewhere, a nice place, nice looking young lady, you feel me? Relationship is not in the picture right now. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's the initial
It's
meetup. You
brand
don't
new.
even know that the potential. You don't even see the potential yet. You don't see that. All you see is that I'm outside.
Beautiful, okay.
I'm outside at the bar. You know what I mean? I meet a nice lady. We have a nice little conversation. But that all could have been lies. You feel what I'm saying? Just off of what I told you is not seeing the potential. You understand what I'm saying? The potential is after this day, right? That conversation that we had, it goes into existence, right? So now, off the initial meetup, that's all I can look at is the looks and how I am attracted to you. Like we was talking before, is like the sexual attraction. How, us as men, like, my group of friends, I'm not going to say it's just my group of friends, but us as men, we've been pretty good at sexual attraction
Yes.
as high on our list on being able to get girls, talk to women, whatever the case may be. So now there's no option of relationship off the first initial meetup. You understand what I'm saying?
Because you don't have the information.
Exactly.
Would you take a job without knowing the requirements
Not
or the
at
pay?
all. Not at all.
That would be irresponsible as shit of me.
As an adult, yes.
As an adult.
Yes.
So like that's just what I'm trying to say, that if this is the premise that we want to go by, I'm not going against like women. I feel like it has to be honesty on both sides. You can't necessarily set me up with trap questions, and you have to be real. I got a question for you. You said you might have an idea what you want, all right, but you want honesty. If you have your idea, why not display that first?
Chances are, you have to understand, most of the time, women are displaying that first. Like, what's first is that you want a relationship. I'm not
Is
saying
that the
me.
sex appeal she's putting out?
Probably.
The aura?
That's the
That's
bait.
the aura?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the
okay.
sex appeal. She got dressed for you.
Okay.
She made sure the hair was
Okay.
done, her nails was done, all that. Yeah, that's the that throwing out the bait.
Okay.
But this is where the thought differs between men and women, because you throwing on that sex appeal is making me want to have sex. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, but then
this
is what I'm saying. The problem is that what we're taught is different. Now you're taught, of course, first to sow your royal oats, go out there, have sex, have some sexual conquest.
Become a man.
That's what you're taught. Become a man.
Heard you.
If your son is a virgin past 18, something's wrong with
No.
him. But you'll teach your daughter to
No.
be a virgin much longer.
No.
You'll tell her to keep herself. But do you tell your daughter to go and find and have sex with a couple of men to see what she wants?
No, but you wouldn't tell
before
your son
she
to do
locks
that
somebody
either.
down.
You wouldn't tell your
But
son
you'll
that
tell
either.
you'll tell
You
yeah,
wouldn't
you
tell
We
your
shouldn't. We
you
do.
shouldn't. But society tells our
we
sons
shouldn't,
that.
but society does.
okay.
Yeah.
Society tells
Okay.
it. Even if I'm not saying personally,
Yeah, no,
like
no.
you gonna
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to your son like now, son.
Okay, society.
Society tells our sons, go have sex with a
Okay.
few people. They'll tell their daughters,
There's nothing wrong
keep
with it.
yourself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So the thing is now when we're both playing in the playing field, I'm supposed to keep myself, but you're supposed to sow your royal oats.
Right.
So now you looking to sow, I'm looking to keep. That's why we're playing two different games, because I'm looking for a relationship because that was my goal. That's what I was taught. My goal is to get a
Build
relationship.
family.
Your goal is to have a few sexual partners, right? So why are we not teaching our daughters have some sexual partners, and then you teach your sons keep yourself? Then now y'all somewhere in the middle, y'all got a balance. Now everybody might start playing the same game.
That's a fact. I
Agree.
I concur.
Agreed.
Exactly. Now everybody playing the same game.
Not everybody is not playing the same game.
We ain't playing the same
But
game
you
now
need-
because it's different. We supposed to, know.
It's too
I
much
agree.
accessibility now.
I got a question, right? So what's the number one quality that a man or woman should have in a potential partner that they
For
like,
you,
could
what's the number
possess?
one quality you want?
for me?
that you want for your partner?
Yeah. You going?
You said it earlier. Vulnerability.
You need vulnerable.
I need vulnerability. I need you to be willing. I will be willing to enter this business deal and understand it. We can gain assets or we can lose assets, but we be doing it together. That's all. Vulnerability.
What's up, D? How you?
See, that's my problem with what God wanted for me. Now you want me to be vulnerable, but at what cost? And at what stage do you want me to be vulnerable?
Myself as well. What do you mean? If we're going into this business deal,
So you
But
want to be
when-
equally vulnerable?
yeah, equally vulnerable. It's not one is more than the other.
When
It's a
when
relationship.
do I have to start being vulnerable though?
From when you throw that aura out there,
Yeah, see that's
that
too
sex
early.
appeal.
See, now I got to be vulnerable while I'm still trying to
But
figure out if you're going to be serious.
But you want a
with me.
relationship
But
at
you
that
want me
time.
to be vulnerable.
You want a relationship at
Yeah,
that
but
time.
we understand that it's a game of give and take too. Like y'all playing the game and y'all think females over here not playing. We playing too.
As y'all should be.
We kicking the ball around too.
As y'all should
Y'all
be.
might be kicking a little harder
Right.
and throwing it all
Right.
out there, but we kicking around too.
Right.
So you gotta understand, like vulnerability don't come at day 1, day 2, day 3.
No, understandable. When we got to enter the
You gotta
business
give me some
contract,
time.
that's not day one. That may not be in the first year. You understand what I'm saying? We have to be willing. What, a year
the
is too
first
long?
year.
All right, but I want to change in there because I want y'all to understand. I'm talking about when you meet a woman, you don't know her. What do you need her? What type of qualities do you need her to have in order to even be considered?
Considering her.
You understand what I'm
Before
saying?
you
Not-
start a relationship.
Before you start a relationship,
Before
you
you
meet this
start
girl,
that.
you starting to have a conversation. You need something. She has to give you something. He said it earlier. He said ambition.
Okay.
He needs an ambitious woman.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like Ryan said, he said trust.
Okay.
You mean he says trust me? You mean I got maybe communication.
All right, so
you gotta be able to communicate with
okay,
me.
so beautiful. So all three of those descriptions does not fall under the umbrella of vulnerability.
No, because before you become vulnerable, you have to trust someone. So it's that one is a little complicated because I can't. All right, boom. Let's go. I'm gonna go into the next question.
I got an answer for you.
All right, give me
So
one.
my answer is leadership. I think a guy has to show me that he's a good leader, and that's because personally, I know I'm a strong personality. So for me to be submissive to you, I almost feel like you have to make me feel like I have to be that way. Like you have to, because naturally I'll lead if you let me. So I feel like you have to show me that you're more of a leader than I am. And from leadership, I know that means that you'll also know when to follow. You'll follow God. You'll know to follow me.
Right.
If you decide to let me, like for instance, if I'm with a guy and he realizes that I'm better with finances, I hope his leadership says, well, listen, babe, you take care of our finances because that's where you're better at.
Okay.
So his leadership would be able to dictate to me, you'll handle that.
Because part of being a strong leader is being able to delegate.
Being
Delegate,
able to
yes,
delegate.
yes,
And
yes.
then with leadership, you'll be a provider. With leadership, you'll be a protector. You'll be loyal.
All right, so
everything
what
else.
we want to do with both of you guys, we have a little practice that we try to do.
Okay.
Is we don't know if people know what they actually require for love. So we call them love requirements. So what we do first is we try to get you guys, and this is not necessarily edge and stone. This is a base.
Yeah.
All right, so what we say is a foundation has to be laid. So we have a few qualities that we feel like should be in the foundation. All right, so these are and we want you guys to list them. What's most important to you to least important. All right, so I'm just gonna say them first. We got trust, communication, respect, sexual attraction, and then a must-have. Meaning to where if leadership wasn't on the foundation, but she needs leadership will be in her must-have. Yeah, if
Okay.
vulnerability will be your
my
must-have.
must-have.
But then we want you to try to list. I mean, and this is not edge and stone. Like you can play with this as, but this we just want to start for everybody because that's what we felt like we had to do. We've been going through Kenny trying to help him with it. We're trying to understand what we want. So because now if you know what you want and you require, then you can actually you can expect it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then now what that'll help you understand is you will actually try to figure out what they require.
Yes.
So then now you can operate on a better, a better spectrum because you know what they want, they know what you want, and y'all got to get a better understanding. So when somebody goes out of that spectrum, you can
reel
hold them
back.
accountable.
Right.
Right.
And also what I want you to, this can always change. I just had an example to where my foundation completely changed as I got older, and I've been with my wife for 15 years, but because I got older, I grew, so my foundation changed, so I had to work that out with my wifey so we can start to figure out how do I introduce this new part of foundation and so she can grow into it because you can't just expect it on the first
Yeah,
day. You understand what I'm
definitely
saying?
can't. Yes.
So, all right, so we're going to start with you first, D. Foundation. We're going to try to list them in sequential order. Trust, communication, respect, sexual attraction, and your must-have.
I guess respect would be number one.
Respect.
Communication 2. Trust 3. Sexual attraction 4. I don't know, let me think. Yeah, I guess that's about right.
And where's your
then
leader? Your
and
must-have.
my leadership is my must-have.
And that's your 5. But
That's
that could be, the leadership could be 1 if you wanted it to.
Oh, okay. So leadership is definitely
'cause
higher.
the
My
must-have.
must-have
Yeah.
is
The
The
definitely
must-have
higher.
is
Yeah.
number one.
Or-
So
yeah,
trust would be number 2 in
So,
yours.
so trust, no, respect. would be
Respect.
number 2.
All right.
Respect would be number 2.
So yeah, number 1 is leadership. Number 2 is respect. Number 3 is trust. Number 4 is what? Sexual attraction.
You said communication and then sexual attraction.
And then sexual attraction.
All right, now what's up? We're going to list them again for you. Trust, communication, respect, sexual attraction, and your must-have.
My must-have is vulnerability.
Is that your number 1?
Yes, my number one. So
All
that's
right,
a
that's
major umbrella for
beautiful.
me. Right after that is respect as well. After respect, sexual attraction, communication, and what was the last one?
Trust.
Trust.
All right. Now, after that, right, what we have is, what we call them is sustaining happiness. These requirements that we need to sustain our happiness, all right? So these requirements are affection, time, words, meaning, hey, you look beautiful today,
Right.
baby. I love you. Like, it's that's women, but men need that too. You understand what I'm saying? Because men have egos. Their egos need to be stroked. Words, acts of service, and romance and gifting. All right? So I'm going to say them again. affection, time, words, acts of service, romance, and gifting. All right. Now, these are extreme for men. These are extremely important for us to know about our significant other.
Yes.
Because say gifting, say if she needs to feel special, getting gifts makes her feel special.
Flowers
getting
every other
flowers
day.
makes her
Yes.
feel special.
Yes.
If you might not naturally be that person.
Right.
But if you know that's on her number one of her sustaining happiness,
You have to make
the transition
Yes.
and compromise and do that. But say if you a guy that gifts. I know people that's what they do.
Yes.
But all she cares about is time. She don't care about flowers. She just wants you to come sit down with her and watch a movie.
Right.
So now you gotta change how you interact with her depending on what helps sustain her happiness. So I mean, it is. And it's not only for women, but it's extremely important for women. But men, we need to understand that about ourselves too, because sometimes we might not be getting. One thing that I said, the most dangerous thing, and about me is kind of when you're not getting something that you feel like you deserve and you internalize it.
Yes.
So you actually have to know what you want, so you can reciprocate that and tell somebody and let them know, hey, this is what I need. Yo, we're not spending enough time together. And what we said earlier about vulnerability, men, we feel vulnerable when we have to say these things.
Right.
But we gotta get past that. And women, we gotta actually, try to promote when men talk and allowing us to be vulnerable in certain spaces so we can communicate and we don't always internalize, which leads to the relationship being unhealthy.
And
All right?
Rue made a good point too when he said that, just because, like, say affection is one of your main things,
Yeah.
and just because your partner is not affectionate doesn't mean that they're not showing it in other ways, right? So it doesn't mean that they don't want to be affectionate with you, but they're just showing it to you in another way. So you have to open up your eyes for that.
Yeah, basically he was saying that we usually give it the way we want it.
Yes.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that's how they want it. So you might give time, but that's not how she wants it. All she wants is affection and romance. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you gotta you gotta learn how she would, like, how your significant other wants to sustain her happiness, so you can give it the way she want it, and don't always assume and give it the way that you want it.
Right.
So that's why it's so important where we're trying to just understand, help each other understand ourselves. And like I said, this is not set in stone, but this is just to start provoking thought. You feel me? So
just to comment on what you said, I agree with you can't give it how you necessarily want it. But I also think a piece of that is that you have to recognize it how it is. Like you and knowing your partner, for instance, like you, and dealing with a guy, he may not be affectionate in the way of like he's always hugging you and coddling you or cuddling or things like that. But every time he walks by, he grabs your butt. So I think a part of that is maybe I do want him to hug me more, but I can't completely overlook the fact that when he walks by, he touches my butt. So I have to understand that that's his level of affection as well. You get what I'm saying? Like, so you gotta, so I have to see it how he's like, okay, I do want you to hug me. And he has to respect that I want to be hugged more. Right. But I also have to see in return, like, oh, but he do grab my butt every time I walk past the kitchen. Like, I see what he doing there.
I agree with that, but I think that there is before that. So, like, yes, you got to allow somebody to be who they are, but you don't know if he's not affectionate just because he's not doing it. So, like, say if your job, you have a job right now, you work there. If your job starts to require something else, you adjust. Straight like that. You adjust to that requirement. And you learn how, if you don't know how to do it, if you're not good at it, if you don't do it naturally, you learn how to do it. One thing that I feel like is lack is communicate. First and foremost, I'm just going to keep it real because I know enough people, we don't even know what we want. So you might feel like, oh, I want him to be more affectionate, but you don't know how to even explain it or communicate that. So what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to help everybody figure out what we want.
Right.
And then communicate it. Tell me you want that affection. And then if I don't do that, and then I'm like, that's why I said that's true, but it's after. And then if I don't do that, but I'm rubbing, you got to still respect the little affection that I'm giving and allow me to work towards that. But you at least got to, what if I don't know? You know how many people that I know too many relationships and you have no idea what your significant other one. You just giving it how you feel like you giving it and hoping that it works without actually knowing and understanding your significant other and what they want.
Right.
So that's why we actually working through this to help even the viewers, us, me, helping all of us understand what do I really want.
Right.
You understand? And then after you realize what you want, then once you see how important it is, like, damn, that shit is important for me to know and know know the sequence. And now when you go to this interview, yo, listen, hold up.
This
Let's
how
go
it's
through
laid
this. Let's
out.
do this exercise. What you want. So now I know. Oh, all you want is time? And then it can always adjust, but then they communicate that. Listen, yo, I've been really feeling. I want to feel more special. I feel like I see all these girls getting flowers at work. Woo, woo.
Right.
Put that in. You know what I'm saying? Let's put that up on the sequence. You know what I mean, and start to understand. So let's go back to it and just quick go through it. List it. It's not saying that it's solidified, but it's just to get us thinking and get the audience thinking. So we're gonna go through. This is sustaining happiness: affection, time, words, acts of service, romance, and gifting.
Words, romance,
Affection, time,
affection, time.
and then acts of service.
Let's switch time and affection.
Uh-huh.
Let's go time, affection. Yeah, acts of service, you said?
Yeah, acts of service is the last
Yeah.
one.
Man.
All right, how about you, Deesh?
I'm gonna be time,
Mm-hmm.
acts of service,
Mm-hmm.
affection, and then the gifting. Is that the last one?
And words.
Words, then gifting.
Words and gifting. All right. That's beautiful. All right, so now we going to, what is your stance on one night stands? And you said this earlier, and I wanted to get right into it, but I couldn't because I had to go this way. What is your stance on one night stands, and what's the difference between male and female hoes?
Wanna take the platform? What is it?
I think one night stands is one night stands. You know, it's not my practice, not my way of life, but to each his own. I understand it because I understand. Essentially, what it's saying is that for a man and a woman, both who participate in one night stands, it shows exactly where you are emotionally. I think you're detached.
Right.
You don't want any commitment.
Right.
You're just rolling with the punches.
Right.
That's cool if that's what you do. Not my thing, but if that's what you do, that's what you do. I think men and female hoes are the same thing. But it's a double standard. I get it. It's one that women will always have to accept.
Yes.
And that's that if you sleep around, you're a hoe. It is what it is.
So
but I do think it's the same thing.
sleep around.
Have
Th-
sex
'cause I
with
wanna-
several men. But I think it's levels to this.
It gotta
hoism.
be levels,
It's always
bro.
levels to hoism because I feel like in every stage of life, somebody done been a hoe. Like you, in every stage of life.
Is that whole
somebody,
phase I've been hearing about?
Yeah, it could be a phase. It could be a lifetime. You can call it what you want. So, but it's levels to it. I think.
Okay.
But I think that for one, like I said before, it's a badge of honor for men to be hoes. For women, it's more stigmatism behind it. You're shunned. You're shamed. But yeah, that's what it is.
So you feel like it's the same to you,
It's
but you
absolutely
know
the
it's a
same.
different society. It's like the society looks at it as
Society looks at it as you'll never even really hear when men get called hoes.
Why
Like,
do
oh,
you
he's
feel
a
like
hoe.
society looks at it as a difference?
Because like I said before, it goes back to the teaching. Men are taught to that's what y'all do. Go have sex with a few women before you get married. You need that before you commit. And then women are taught to keep yourself until you get married.
Because women are held on a higher pedestal.
Oh no. I got this is like, think about this real quick. Who holds women to that? You said we're held to a standard, you get a stigmatism. Who puts that stigmatism on women and who doesn't put that stigmatism on men? Shouldn't women hold men accountable for that?
Exactly.
Women won't do it because they know how men are going to hold them accountable. Men do it because we know women aren't going to hold us accountable.
Right.
So then whose fault? Like we putting women on a pedestal, they putting no. You're not holding us accountable enough. If we knew we couldn't get the women we want because we sleep around, we will either one, be way more discreet,
Yes.
or two, not do it.
Right. Only two
So
options.
like what I like to do, what I can't do, it's hard for me to do. We gotta understand responsibility. So yes, men are responsible for sleeping around, but as women, you are our counterparts. You have to hold us accountable. You have to make it to where this isn't acceptable, because now we would have to, in return, change our actions. Men, the reason that women they either try to keep it discreet or don't do it is because they know in society of their counterpart,
Yes.
they're going to be looked at and judged in a certain way. So y'all, one thing that women do, they say it's bad for us to judge them because they don't judge men. That's not my counterpart. I got to judge my counterpart. So is it really bad? Do you really want us to stop judging y'all? So then y'all can have a free fall?
reign or whatever they do.
Why can't y'all just start judging us a little bit damn harder?
Why,
That's it.
that's my problem. Why does I don't think the responsibility is on the men to hold women accountable. Why can't other men hold other men accountable?
Because you're
Why
not my
can't you-
counterpart.
It doesn't matter. Why can't you look at Dijon? If let's say Dijon, that's your boy, right? Let's say he's sleeping around, but you know he married. Why can't you tap him on the shoulder and be like, "Yo, bro, you got a good woman at home. Why don't you try being faithful to her?"
true
Like,
friend will
listen,
do that.
Because
why,
it
why
doesn't.
don't y'all hold each other accountable? Why I
Because-
gotta look at you like, oh,
I'm-
you
I-
this and you
I
that,
can answer
for
this.
me to make you feel like, oh, well, now I should do this or do that.
Because it doesn't have the potential to directly affect me.
Right.
If you really want to answer, do you want to answer or not? The reason why I am not too invested in what he does with his body, because it's not going to directly affect me. Women, the reason why
I think that's arguable.
just the women, the reason why I have held other women accountable and reason men do is because if it was free and women were allowed to act like men, then it's a real good possibility that the woman that I come across is going to have these behaviors, and then it directly affects me. So I'm more invested in stuff that directly affects me. The reason why I'm not too invested, and I agree with you, we should, but the reason why I'm not overly invested in what he's doing, because it has no potential to directly affect me. All right, so therefore, all I'm saying is that, right? I'm saying the way that we kind of indirectly, I don't know if it's on purpose, the way that we hold women accountable, I feel like women should do the same thing. And you should make women altogether should make it more stigmatized and more negative for men to be that free with their bodies. Why? I've never been because I was free with my body been not accepted among certain women. But I know a whole lot of men that if you do certain, no. Straight like that, no. We set a precedent.
Yeah.
Where is your precedent?
Yeah.
Can there be a precedent be set?
Yes.
I'm just saying. Is
But how
that
can you-
wrong?
It was dead wrong.
How is that wrong? I want to know this.
Because I honestly don't feel like first of all, you can't set a standard for you or set a standard for me that you're not gonna live or abide by. So if the issue is me sleeping around, then that should be an issue for me like it is an issue for you. The issue shouldn't be, oh, well, I slept around, now she a hoe, but me, I'm going to continue to sleep around. But you know, if she want me to wife her, I ain't going to wife her. But then that other girl over there should feel that way, like she shouldn't be wifed by me because I'm a hoe.
This is
like
why,
that's you can't. How
this
you
is
gonna
why
say that?
I'm about to tell you. This is why that's wrong, right? Because you guys, you say you set a standard, right? So the standard is completely obvious for us and for the people that I know is that you don't mind that a man has his hoe phase. That's the standard, right? Like I know the women don't mind. You just said that society in your head that's what we allow it as society. Women are among society, correct? Mm-hmm. So in society, it's okay to have that hoe phase. So then why don't women do it? If a president,
they do it. They just not talking
but
to you
they
about it.
They don't do it. It's not. It's
They
not
do
as they do it, but it's not as in abundance, and it's not as bad as men. Just be honest, and it's not as free.
It's not.
Matter of fact, it's not as free. So why isn't the freedom
It's as free.
amongst
The
women?
difference is it's couched differently because the difference is when she was having sex with multiple people, in her mind she was dating them. They were talking to each other. They had the potential to be together. It's the same thing though. When you did it, you was in, you was out. So you was obviously
we were talking
moving
as well.
from.
I had to talk to her to get the cookie. I had to talk to her to get the cookie.
Yeah, you was sending a morning message and you was like, "Oh hey,
Good
girl,
morning.
what's up?
You want breakfast in bed?
What's up?"
Extra
And then you went
sausage.
in, and then you did your business, and then you dipped out.
We was
she
talking.
feels better or differently about it because she was talking to these guys when she flipped through 15 of them within the past however many months or years or whatever is the case. So it just looks differently.
I know, but what you're saying, I'm not disagreeing with that's how it happens. But listen, I'm not disagreeing with that's how it happens. But by the way that you have to maneuver through it shows the psychological difference. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that it should be one standard. It shouldn't be overly hoe, overly not hoe.
Exactly.
But there should
That's
be
why I
one
said there's some
standard.
levels
But the
to it.
only way we get to that standard is
Get rid of the gray
both,
area.
No, both you holding us accountable We're gonna erase that just to let you know. you holding us accountable. You understand what I'm saying? And you holding us accountable and allowing us to hold you. It has to be equal. It can't be lopsided to where it's okay for us to be like this and we can still get any girl we want. But a woman can do it. Like, I'm kind of on your side. A woman could do it, and then y'all are now looked upon as different. Y'all only can pull from a certain pool.
But it's more deeply rooted than that, because we're talking like about a whole misogynistic culture, period. So it's not just like, oh, and just in this area of life, women are held to a lower standard and men are held to a higher standard. That's period. Like, corporate world, men have more make a higher salary than some women do. So we're talking about a whole culture of men being on a certain level that women are not esteemed to. So we're only esteemed in the sense of like we're supposed to keep our vaginas intact how we're supposed to. Like, that's a level
Chastity
of esteem. But other than that, women are always gonna be like, oh, well, a man can do this and can do that, and he'll make a higher salary. But
that's what I'm trying. That's what I don't agree with. I know that there's different levels, and I know that there's stigmatism. I know that it's not equal. But what I'm saying is that there's a way that it can. Like, all right, so say if I'm sitting here trying to help women. But I'm saying, in order for me to understand, I understand men, I understand women. If I did figure out a fix, women can't be so like against like any correction to where, like, in order for me to say, if I have this fix, I don't know if it's the right fix or not, but say if it is, I'm telling you, in order for it to fix the lopsided hoe, male hoe, female hoe, you mean the way that we look at it in society, women, you have to do something. And then now it's, no, you're wrong because I'm asking you to do something to help us fix. I'm not saying that it's like your word. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, we have to get to it. And this is a part of this whole pocket. In order for me, sometimes you don't know, I'm not a woman, but I have a certain type of perspective. I have a daughter now, so I'm not only just talking from a man. This is how I feel about me. Everything I went through is to help my daughter.
But
I was the male hoe.
Right.
I was the dude that did all, but the only reason I've been through that is so I have a certain type of perspective for my daughter. So when I try to think about stuff, I see stuff like that. And I see like, yo, if women start holding men accountable for them spreading themselves around, will we keep doing it in the same rate? Or you could say, well, you'll just do it sneakier, woo woo woo, but it won't be as we do it now.
But I don't know if I agree with that, only because I may hold you accountable. But
I'm talking about women in a whole.
Yeah, I know. I get it. If women in a whole, but even if a majority of women begin to hold men accountable, there's still some hoe out there who's not going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
So there's still your option to do exactly whatever it is that you want. So you're right. I get what you're saying. Like, if we start looking at men like, oh, I'm not sleeping with you. Like, nah, you a hoe. You can never come this way. Then a man might be like, oh, hold up. Like, she, think I'm a hoe. But let's say it's not that serious to you. So you like, all right, well, cool. You not going to do it. There's a girl sitting right next to me that's not going to care that you was a hoe. And she's still gonna let you hit. So your success rate, like you said earlier,
rules and laws,
be way up here.
But rules and laws laws, and just the way we operate aren't put in place only when they're 100% successful. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we put laws, rules, and everything in place in our society that, yes, we know that this rule is going to be broken, and there's going to be work. There's going to be work inside this rule, but there has to be a starting point.
Yes.
There has to be a starting point, or it just basically we're saying that this is the way it is. Fine. And I don't agree with that. Right. I don't accept that. All right, hold on. I got last question before we get out of here. All right. This is my last question. I'm going to start with you. Is there ever a scenario where cheating is warranted?
Where cheating is warranted?
Yep. And we're going to break it down to for you to cheat and for a woman to cheat on you. Is there a scenario where cheating is warranted?
What kind of relationship are they in? Are they married, boyfriend and girlfriend, engaged?
Go wherever you want to go. We could say they're in a relationship.
Warranted?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if a person is vengeful. Their significant other chose to cheat on them, so yes, to get the revenge. Marriage, no, walk away. If you're that gung-ho about your marriage, stick with it. Go through the process again of getting cheated on again. Yeah, different relationship. Yeah, I believe it's warranted sometimes. It can be.
Cheating
Yeah.
can be warranted. How about you?
I don't know how to answer this question. Is there ever a time that cheating can be warranted? I'd say no. But to say no, I feel like I do think, like Digital said, it is important to know what relationship we're at, what part of a relationship we're in. Because if you're married, then no. Anything before marriage, I can understand it a little differently than I can understand it in marriage. However, see, women ain't gonna like me for this, but let's just talk about it, because I feel like what happens with cheating is the ultimate breakdown of some piece of the relationship.
Yes.
So my thing is, I understand that when cheating comes into the relationship, cheating doesn't come into the relationship because you just look at somebody and be like, oh, I just want to cheat. Cheating comes really most of the time after you've cried about something, complained about something, said you wasn't happy with something, said you're not satisfied. Now you're at a stage of rebellion. Does that mean, do I think that you should step outside your relationship and have sex with somebody? No. Do I understand why you may have stepped outside of your relationship and had sex with somebody or text somebody? Because cheating's not all the time just having sex. Cheating sometimes is you looking for some companionship elsewhere, and that means that you're looking for a good morning text message because he's no longer rolling over and saying good morning. So do I understand it? I understand it. Is it warranted? I don't know. I'd say it's warranted, but I say I can understand why it can come in. But no. I'm just going to go with the safe answer here and rock with my woman and say his ass better not never cheat, because that's what the woman
I got
wants
something to say off of what she was saying with misconception. She said men cheat, because or if something breaks down. And you
I think that's
said
both
you
men and
said
women.
yeah, but you said and also said that it's sometimes it's like you looking for something else.
I think that's a side effect. I think cheating is the side effect. The issue is not the issue is not, to me, the cheating.
But
the issue is usually the cheating is usually the side effect of the issue.
I'm going to say this for all of the guys that grew up like me. This shit just was an activity, bro.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't no, like when I went through a tough phase, it's just an activity. Like women make it to where like I know women have to make it that way, but like I know too many men that we grew up with a mindset that was flawed. I am admitting it was flawed, but this is what we were taught to do. So in order, like say if you deal with certain type of men like me, right? If you deal with a person like me, the way that I grew up, we just was talking about it. Yo, it was completely like I was raised wrong. So in order for me to work my way out of that, I had to go through that like post-traumatic stress, bro. Like this is what I do. I learned how to be in a room with a group of women and see which women will want to have sex with me. Just by looks. This is what I was taught and trained to do. So if you deal with somebody like me that has been basically trained his mind to deal with women and kind of desensitize sex, where it's just a regular activity, then you can't make it to where like now you said it's the ultimate disrespect because
I never said.
no, you just said that, but
I said it's the ultimate disrespect.
you said to women. You ain't saying necessarily. So you said to women, and women do think like that. To women, cheating is breaking trust. It's the ultimate disrespect.
It
I
is ultimate
agree,
disrespect.
but like I said, in one of these things, there's a certain point to where you have to have a certain amount of like understanding in how you compromise and how you come. You got to know your partner, because if you know, I feel like every woman that I know that deal with these type of dudes, you know who that nigga is.
Right.
You know his mindset. You gotta help him.
And you
help
know
him
yours.
come through that.
So when you, my thing is for men that say like, this is my mindset. This is what I want to do. This is what I've been trained to do. That's fine. Do
Disclaimer:
it
ain't right.
Yeah, right.
Disclaimer: it's not right.
It's wrong.
But we already know. Growing up, the way we treat our, just like you said, our little boys go ahead and have sex with 3 or 4 women. That right there is the beginning of desensitizing it.
Yes.
Where
Right,
it's
it's
just
just sex.
it's just
It's
an
just
activity.
sex, right.
So that's why I'm saying that was my reason. I was saying like trying to fix the way that we have our young men thinking. If we already automatically desensitizing our young men, then we don't look at sex as y'all look at sex.
Nope.
So you
Right.
got to stop assuming we do. And so we're not saying that it's right, But we're trying to get to a point to where we can operate in a safe and sane place. And we have to go through these, especially guys like me, these hiccups and issues and see, and where it comes down to, it goes back to value. We have to see the value in our chicks. All the niggas I know that did it, you got to see the value in chick and what you would be losing. And then you go back and really start readjusting yourself. And you see that this ain't wrong. But I grew up that way. I ain't learned for a long time. I'm a grown man now. And just imagine, God forbid, I could have missed out on a lot of different things, but it just didn't happen that way. But yo, this is our thought process. This is how we're raised. What I'm saying and what I said before, I want women to start holding us more accountable so we're not raised like that.
Right.
So therefore, it doesn't end up coming back. Like at some point in time, we gotta make a stand and say, yo, we're gonna make a generational change. Yo, men, that shit ain't cute no more. What's up? Go ahead, do that. Go over there. Oh, it's a group of girls over there anyway. Go ahead, get them then. Go ahead, get them. It's something that I watched a dude say, yo, everybody's not going to be saved. Everybody's not going to get it. Everybody's not going to understand. So what we got to do is we got to accept that and bring the people that understand to help us actually change in a narrative, because I wish right now, I've been through it. I done had the most fun in the world. I told a story. I did everything. Sexually, it was great.
Beautiful.
Right now, but when I know what I know, I wish I didn't do it. I wish I was at another spectrum, because I wasted a whole lot of time and energy on nothing. It didn't give me anything back. I told nigga, if we got paid for this, I'll be in the cheese right now. You see what I'm saying? But I ain't got nothing for it.
Right.
I ain't got nothing for it. So that's what I'm saying. So that's the way that I'm trying to stop that way of thinking and actually revert it. But we got to work together.
Yeah.
We got to work together, and it can't just be like, I can't do it by myself, because like I said, psychologically, I'm not the counterpart. You understand what I'm saying? A woman respects herself because, oh, daddy lets you know this, that, and mom does too. But we gotta work together,
But
basically.
yeah, I understand that. But I think that here's a couple of things that happens. There's another problem. We tell our daughters they have to stay, and the girl that stays is the girl that's loyal, and she's the one that gets the ultimate prize, which is when he decides he wants to settle down and calm down and then offer you the world. So now you're telling your daughter she's supposed to stay while he cheats, because that's how she shows her loyalty.
But everything is adaptability. Women had to adapt to that because of the way that we were raised. So like that's not
we
right.
adapted to that,
But
because
that's
I actually think that black women specifically adapted to that, because when we did care about our men being in our household, no, it's not that. It's a whole. I think it comes more back to slavery and the demise of the black family. That's a whole long story I could tell you.
That's a fact.
But when we cared more about having our men in our households, we would do whatever it took to make sure our men stayed in that household. So if that meant he had a whole nother side family, you let him have his side family as long as he came home. And as long as he took care of y'all 7, 8, 10 kids. At that time, they had 10 kids.
Yeah.
Where you gonna let him go and he got 10 kids?
Yeah.
You gonna let him sleep around, because it made more sense to let him have sex with a couple of different women so that he still brought his check home to you, because you couldn't work and make the money he made when he went out to work. So you had to let him come back home. So then what we see is our mothers and their mothers and their mothers stick around for men that cheated. So now we think we have to stick around for men that cheat. And you'll hear a guy say, like, why you don't just wait it out? Let him get it together. Why he gonna be a good man one day.
Yeah.
Like,
But
you know what I'm saying? And then you gotta weigh the option of stick around and wait till he become a good man, or leave while he's still doing his BS.
Now I agree. The only difference, and this is the last statement. I agree, but the problem with that is that isn't the root problem. That is a problem that is from another problem that the root caused. What I'm trying to get back to is the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is how young black men like me, when we're raised and we're growing up, how we see ourselves. We have to value ourselves more. We can't feel like we could just spread ourselves thin and it's cool and it's okay, because what we're really showing is we're showing the lack of value we have in ourselves. So that's what I wanted. The root is changing the young men's narrative. So I'm trying to attack the root. Nothing you said was wrong, and I don't disagree with it, but that doesn't change the root issue. If we still got a whole bunch of little 11, 12-year-olds feeling like they got to go out and sleep with a lot of girls, then we don't fix the root cause. So that's what I'm saying. Yo, all the young boys, don't be hoes out here. This shit is corny, it's whack. It don't give you nothing. Don't give you no cheese, no nothing. All it does is temporary
It's empty.
enjoyment. It's emptiness. So, you mean, figure out yourself, learn your value, love yourself. You mean, signing
Keep
out. This is,
yourself.
thank you guys for coming.
No,
We
appreciate
appreciate your perspective. We respect your perspective.
Definitely appreciate.
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
y'all
Invite me back.
coming
I
on
got
the
more
show.
to say.
Yo, thank you for watching No Perspective.
We out there.
This is a show that's for the people, from the people. Thanks. Till next time.
Thanks for watching No Perspective. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat.